going to call to order Township High School District 113 regular Board of Education meeting Monday, February 26, 2018. A roll call, please.
Ms. Meyer? Here. Ms. Beck? Here. Ms. Hyman? Ms. Laube? Mr. Small? Ms. Garlovsky? Here. Ms. Culver?
Here. And could everyone else seated at the table please identify themselves?
Christopher Dignam, Superintendent.
Hermina Isaac, Executive Secretary.
Alvin Mahonti, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and District Treasurer. Tom Krieger, Director of Human Resources.
Tiffany Chavez, Director of Student Support Services.
John Fuhr, Director of Operations and Facilities.
Catherine Anderson, Principal at Deerfield.
Elizabeth Robertson, Principal, Highland Park.
Christine Gonzalez, Director of Communications and Instructional Technology.
And could the members of our audience identify themselves? We can start with you.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm from Trinity International University. I'm a freshman. I'm just observing today.
Great, welcome.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm also from Trinity. Observing today.
I'm Lauren Taylor. I'm also from Trinity.
Madeline Brooks.
From Trinity. Okay.
Dylan Wheatley, student at Deerfield on behalf of the foundation.
Lisa Bergoff, staff at Highland Park, Foundation 113 member and community member.
Todd Vogelsang, Media Center, English Department, Highland Park High School.
Mary Beth Arsek, District 113 Foundation and community member.
Steve Bell, District 113 Foundation.
Pete Serrata, husband of Barb Serrata.
Barb Serrata, 113 Foundation. Susie Wexler, District 113 Education.
Brian Skane, Highland Park High School Science teacher.
Karen Fay, Highland Park High School Science teacher.
John Hollander, Fred Hollander, parent of a Highland Park High School student.
Lynn Hollander, student
Pam Hollander, Director of District 113, recipient for the member board.
Chairman Rendon, math teacher at Highland Park.
Debbie Finn, District 113 Foundation and Highland Park High School Math Department.
Jeff Gordon, community member.
Steve Tucker, Assistant Principal, Highland Park High School.
Joe Taylor, Assistant Principal at Deerfield High School and member of the foundation.
Elaine Van Dusen, member of the 113 Foundation.
Marjorie Samba, 113 Foundation.
Nancy Greenberg, community member.
Jerry Meister, grandparent of a boy at Highland Park High School.
Okay, great.
Mr. Lavin and.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Carl Lambrecht. I live in Highland Park.
Okay, and then you guys. Sorry.
J4 at Deerfield High School. Jury left.
I apologize. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to just start with a brief statement regarding the incident that took place in Parkland, Florida. 17 innocent lives were lost during the school shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those who have been impacted, especially the families and friends of the 17 who lost their lives. Unfortunately, this is not the first school shooting that our students have witnessed in their lifetime. As a district, our top priority is the safety and well-being of our students and staff. Our students will not be successful in the classroom unless they feel safe and welcome each and every day. Our work as a district is centered upon which is best for our students. We regularly conduct drills and review our crisis response protocols so that in the event that an incident occurs, our staff is trained and prepared to keep our students safe. Dr. Dignam will speak to this later in his report, but please know that every staff member in this district has a role in ensuring that our students are safe when they are under our watch. Could we have an approval of the regular board meeting agenda? Is there a motion?
So.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Citizens' comments. We welcome your comments and questions and give them serious consideration. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 2-230, please identify yourself and, if applicable, state the agenda item to which your comment is directed. Please limit the length of all comments to no more than 3 minutes per comment period. We'll do our best to address your questions during the relevant agenda item discussion. For non-agenda related questions or for questions that require additional response time, we'll follow up with you as well as report back at the next board meeting. Are there any citizens' comments?
Can I speak from there?
Sure,
Thank you.
please.
Excuse me. It's in a foreign language. Maybe some of you know it, what it means. But the topic I have is a greater number of deaths. 1 million a year killed by something we call abortion. It's very deadly. It's happening everywhere. It's targeting black people specifically. That was the goal of Margaret Sanger, born 1879, September 14th. Adolf Hitler, a great admirer of Margaret Sanger, born 1889, April 20th. These are not the people to admire. I think we should think about eliminating death in our society. It's all legal, just like in Nazi Germany. Excuse me, National Socialist Germany. That's the correct term. We should use things correctly so people know what it means. It's the socialists who are doing this. Very simply, I think I've said what I want to say. I'm leaving this for your language group so you can practice your language. Thank you. And now I can go back home.
Thank you.
And I should think you would include the 1 million deaths and pray for them.
Any other citizens' comments?
Where do you wish me?
Right up here.
Thanking you for allowing me to speak. My name is Jerry Meister. I happen to be a member of this community for over 50 years. So I've seen a lot of things happening in our community, in our buildings. I've been involved in a lot of referendums, a lot of planning, a lot of hopes. But I'm really here to not talk to you about that. I want to take you where I was a week ago, 2 days after the shooting in Florida. And I came to Highland Park High School to watch my grandson play on the freshman team. And I would tell you, and I'm bringing this to your attention, you haven't heard it before, you have an open school. You have no security at the sports entrance. I'm only talking about the sports entrance. That's a new addition to the high school. I'm sure it was not planned that way. If I remember correctly, it wasn't. But there you had, at a desk, a gal, okay, laughing, people pouring in on either side of the doors, no one watching the doors. And you had a custodian eating pizza, filling his face with pizza. I bring this to your attention because I've already had this dialogue with the superintendent. So you've become aware of really what's going on. You might be told that we have security, and I doubt we have security at all the entrances. But security means security. People paying attention to what they're doing. There's not a secure entrance, a secure vestibule to process people coming in to the school. At the entrance off of the parking lot, where the majority of the people park. People don't park in the back. It's always a shortcut. So I'm here to remind you of what exists. And I believe that the last referendum took into account that we were supposed to have security at all entrances. locked security. There's no locked security at this entrance. So, those who teach at school, those who come to visit, pay attention to where you are and how you're getting in, and see for yourself. And if you're satisfied, say nothing. But I'd be shocked if someone said nothing. I'm concerned. I don't want to see this happen to us. And there's enough money in the reserve fund to build what you have to build to do it right, because it hasn't been done right now. Okay? Don't tell me that the $89 million was on target, on budget, okay, on time, because it hasn't been carried out the way it should have been. Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Okay, we are going to move on to our District 113 Education Foundation presentation.
Hi. We're the happy part. Thank you.
You know.
Okay. Hi. I'd like to just say thank you all first for giving us the time to be here. We completely value the partnership between the District 113 Education Foundation and our school board and our school professionals. For those of you whom we haven't had the chance to meet personally, I'm Susie Wexler. I'm one of the co-presidents of the District 113 Education Foundation.
Barb Street, I'm another co-president of the 113 Education Foundation.
So taking into account all the different styles of learning, we're going to say a lot of what you'll see on all the screens, but feel free to focus on whatever lets you sit through the next few minutes. So, fine.
Okay, so this is actually our 4th year as co-president, so it kind of feels a little bit like Groundhog Day for us, but probably not for you. So we're going to start at the beginning. We formed back in 2007. The foundation was created by several community members who generously contributed seed money, including David Small, who I know he's not here tonight, but he was one of the founding members of the foundation in 2007. Since 2007, we have distributed over $250,000 in grants for over 100 grant recipients, and those grant recipients are teachers at Deerfield High School and Highland Park High School. So we have, what I think it reflects is the incredible innovation and inspiration that our teachers show and demonstrate in their community. We are, unlike many other foundations for high schools, we are completely volunteer. We do not have a paid staff. And we have a lot of board members here. I wonder if our board members could stand. Oh, come on, you guys, you can stand. We have a number of shy board members. I wanted to point out, thank you. And I wanted to point out that among our board members, we have 3 teachers, Joe Taylor, Debbie Finn, and Lisa Berghoff, and we could not be a foundation without you. You guys are amazing in terms of acting as liaisons with the staff and teachers. And we also have a great thing about our foundation is that we have 4 student members. Dylan Wheatley and Abby Miller are here. We also have Daphne Cass and Isaac Friedman from Highland Park High School. And these are such assets in our meeting. They're wiser than their years and really help us keep on track. I also want to thank, we have one person here who's not a board member who just gives so freely of her time, and that's Christine Gonzalez. She has helped us with our marketing planning and communications, and we really couldn't do our job without you. And thanks also to Chris Dignam's on our board, and Elena Lauby's also on our board. So, but for our volunteer board, we really could not survive, and we are very grateful to you. So let's go to the financial snapshot. This is going to be a satellite view, not a deep dive, but we're happy to talk further with any one of you if you have further questions. So we're going to go to our fiscal year 2017. Our income was approximately $19,000. That's derived from our Pizza Bowl, and I know several of you went this year. Our Pizza Bowl pulls in the community members of both Deerfield and Highland Park high schools, and usually about 300 plus people attend, and we usually raise about $3,000. And thankfully, the jazz bands from both Highland Park and Deerfield perform, and that really makes it a wonderful event. We also have an Honor an Educator program where individuals in the community can honor an educator and pledge a certain amount to support us, as well as our annual mailing campaign, community events, and we do have corporate donations. Our assets at year end were $121,000, and that reflects that we had grant expenditures of $29,000. $19,000 of those went to our first signature grant, which we're going to hear more about from Lisa Berghoff, and that related to a STEAM program where kids, hundreds of kids in our district, learn about STEAM careers. And you'll find out what STEAM is from Lisa, if you don't know already. Looking forward, future, we dispersed future for 2018 over $40,000 this year. It's our biggest year ever. It also includes a $19,000 signature grant for the FUSE program for Deerfield High School. The one in 2017 was Highland Park High School. And we did decide, to be fair and even and spread it across both. So that's a snapshot. And again, I'm happy to delve deeper if you have future questions.
So I get to share with you the most exciting part of what the District Education Foundation does, which is the only reason to raise funds is to spend them. And we get to spend them on innovative grants that have been presented by the amazing staff at each of our high schools, as well as actually parent groups that have come and presented. So I'd like to share with you the 2018 grant awards. We'll do Deerfield first. Sarah Campbell, and actually if you're here and we say, if you could just make a physical motion, we won't call it a pledge, we're not that kind of a place, but we do want to acknowledge the amazing innovation that comes with these grants. Sarah Campbell and Nikki Lazaretto bringing South African dance and music to Deerfield High School. Amy Bricker, and this was actually a joint between the two high schools, District 113 Family Night to support transgender and gender diverse students and their families. Julie Blanche, exploring food security, indoor and outdoor gardening. Joe Novikis, the Honors Incubator Classroom, Shark Tank, comes to DHS. Ryan Rokaitis, Journey of 1,000 Words begins with a single book, Authentic Texts in Spanish. Doniel Escalante and Ryan Rokaitis, Language Proficiency Achievement, Department Training for Oral Proficiency Exam, and the Deerfield Parent Network After Prom Party. The Highland Park grants for 2018. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it this way. Lindsay Mayer with the book club. Aaron Fay, Educational Video Creation Station. Aaron Fay, Lungfish Learning Creation Station, Urban Farming. Josh Chodoroff, the Flute Choir Bass Flute. Melissa Zienitara, Learning Strategies for Social Emotional Wellness. Jesse Villanueva, supporting emerging multilinguals in language, life, and study to support dual language program, just rolls off the tongue. And John Rowley, an athletic leadership program. We're also excited to announce this year's signature grant to Deerfield High School, which was the Fuse Lab. So just as we brought a Fuse Lab to Highland Park High School, we will be bringing the same opportunities to Deerfield High School, and I don't know when we start putting it in. I guess
It'll be in the summertime.
Great, in the summertime. And this year we are super excited to announce the first ever Linda Gordon STEM Innovation Grants. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is an honor that we created this year. Many of you may know that 2017 marked the passing of the beloved and honored Highland Park High School math teacher, Linda Gordon. And Mrs. Gordon taught math at Highland Park High School for over 20 years. Mrs. Gordon was known as a ball of energy. Her enthusiasm, innovation, and ability to inspire students created passion in them to love math, and she did this by showing them real-life connections. Her many other legacies include being the founder of the Senior Citizen Prom, which still exists today, which fosters real-life connections of an even more personal kind. In honor of Mrs. Gordon's many, many contributions to the district, and because the characteristics she demonstrated daily in her teaching life reflect the mission and vision of the foundation. The foundation has decided to create its first annual Linda Gordon STEM Innovation Grant Award. This award will be presented each year to those grant applicants demonstrating Mrs. Gordon's characteristics of inspiration, innovation, and fostering real-life connections in STEM. This year, we are very, very happy and honored to announce that there are 2 recipients of this award. First, I'd like to welcome up Highland Park High School math teacher Jeremy Runyon. And second, I'd like to welcome up Highland Park High School science teacher Brian Skane. If they could come up while I just... No. You're going to be up here for a minute, so at least. So let me describe these incredible grants. Yeah. They do break. Okay, so here's what we're going to do first. I'm going to describe and then we'll have them come up. So Jeremy Runyon's grant is called Geometry Survey Projects, and this is going to impact over 100 geometry survey students. And what it does is it creates meaningful hands-on activities using fundamental geometry principles, using things as basic as string art, extending arms, and triangular shelves. Science teacher Brian Skane's grant project relates to physics and is called Monday Fun Day. And I don't even like science, and I'll tell you, it sounds so much fun. I think I may drop in. It's a genius hour, which takes place every Monday, and physics students get to learn concepts such as hydraulics, lasers, robotics, pneumatics, and computer coding through hands-on, self-directed projects. So it sounds like
physics sound fun?
It does. I want to go. We're all invited, right? Okay. So I wanted to congratulate both Brian and Jeremy, but we also have a special surprise today. And we are super privileged and honored today to be joined by Mrs. Gordon's family members, her daughter, Pam Hollander, her grandchildren, Sam and Josh, her son-in-law, Greg Hollander, and then her son, Dr. Jeffrey Gordon, and his wife, Stephanie Gordon, who's continuing in the legacy of Mrs. Gordon because she's a Deerfield High School teacher. And I'd like to invite the family up to take a picture with our first annual grant recipients. Thank you so much for coming. And Christine Gonzalez has kindly offered to take a picture.
But we need to. So you guys will.
Christine's
just a little bit to your left, my right.
I was going to say we'll squeeze in there. There we go.
There we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Do one more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for being here.
I'm just hiding. Where'd she go? There's the fuse.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a taste that we're doing very cool things with the foundation funds. What we'd like to do is spend most of the time we have allotted letting you really see how innovation can make a difference. So I'd like to ask, is it Lisa gonna? Okay. I'd like to ask Lisa to come up and present a little bit about what the Fuse signature grant made possible at Deerfield High School, or I'm sorry, at Highland Park High School, so that Deerfield High School can take a look and get excited for what's to come.
Thanks. So when the Fuse program came to Highland Park High School last year, I actually was not on the board, the foundation board. So it feels like a double excitement to get to talk about it from the perspective of a teacher who uses the Fuse program, but also now as a new board member. So, and as a past grant recipient, really being so appreciative of everything that the foundation has done. So we're not going to play this video because it's too long, so we can go forward. The Fuse program is a program that was created at Northwestern University, and it was designed to be an on-ramp for kids who don't normally see themselves in STEAM types of areas, either academic or in the future careers. So when we talk about STEAM, we're talking about science, technology, education, arts, and mathematics, which we have at the high school, but we have them in isolation. And when we talk about STEAM, we're really talking about bringing those things together and incorporating them all at once. So what I love about it is that it's really student-centered. It's based on student choice. Students work together. As the teacher, I went through a day of training. Some of my colleagues who are here tonight were also at the training, and we didn't learn how to do the Fuse challenges. We learned how to facilitate a Fuse studio so the students can realize their own potential. So when kids get stuck and they come and ask me, I honestly don't know the answer, but I'm able to ask questions and provide encouragement, and we're able to find other people in the room who can work together. So we currently have 111 existing users in the Fuse program. It gets used by a variety of different places in our schools. So currently Tech Giants, it's offered as a summer school course. We also offered it last summer as for our middle school students. It was part of a camp program. Our physics classes are starting to use Fuse. The STEM W Club uses Fuse. We have some geometry classes that are starting to use Fuse. So we have a lot of teachers that have been trained to coordinate the program, and we're kind of all over the building. So there are lots of opportunities, and we're constantly kind of reimagining how can we get more kids exposed to this type of learning. So here's what the student experience looks like. They sign in to Fuse. We have a cart of Macs that are dedicated for the Fuse program. They have lots of software loaded on them, and they get to choose a challenge. Yeah. So when they choose a challenge, each challenge has multiple levels. So they use, they take a look. There's an initial like promo video. It's very engaging and gets you very excited to get fired up to try the challenge. And there is some help that you can access through the site, but it also encourages you to collaborate with others who are in the room. So once you completed that challenge, you upload your work to the Fuse Studio, and then you can either level up, so you can continue within that challenge. If you really loved it and you want to keep going and learn even more, you can continue to level up, or you can choose a completely different challenge. So the students, it's really interesting to see the different paths that they take. We have some kids that really find a challenge that just speaks to them and they're passionate about it and they just really want to dive deep and complete all of the levels. And then we have other kids who just kind of dabble and try a little of everything. So this is a screenshot of the Fuse dashboard. So you can see this is just some of the challenges, but they're geared for excitement. So it's things like making your clothing light up, or making roller coasters, or designing jewelry. And we have a 3D printer as part of the Fuse kind of suite. We have a vinyl cutter. So yes, there is a component that is on the computer, but there's also a lot of physical objects. So kids get to really play and interact with materials that it's not just on the computer. So these are some images from Fuse experiences that we have had over the last year. So lots of hands-on creative things, lots of working together. We have kids who wouldn't necessarily shine in their other classes, but they have figured something out in Fuse, and they really have an opportunity to shine in the Fuse lab and be looked at as an expert by their peers. So there is a lot of technology that is utilized, but it's really for a purpose. So there's specific software that you use to do your designing and then send it to the 3D printer. It's not just gratuitous, flashy online for the sake of online. It really is for a purpose. And it's interesting how when the kids see these challenges, a lot of times if I, as a teacher, asked a student to do what's on the challenge, they would probably say no way. But when they see that it's part of their challenge and they want to level up, it does push them to try new things and do things that are a little bit out of their comfort zone. We work really hard to make sure that the learning community in the Fuse Lab is a really positive and supportive one, so they know that it's safe, it's fine. Making mistakes is part of what it's about, but it does challenge kids. And then we also incorporate reflection, journaling, and discussion. So this is a journal entry from a student who took our Fuse class over the summer and really talks about having a breakthrough in an understanding, a misunderstanding that he had with a friend. And you can see that kids are making connections through these challenges and through the work that they're doing. They're able to make connections that reach out to other parts of their lives. And then this is just a really short video showing some of the Fuse challenges in action. And the focus in Fuse is on the 4 C's. I don't know if you've discussed that in this kind of realm before, but the focus is creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. And again, it's not looking at pieces in isolation, it's bringing it all together. So you can see that here. Yeah, it's short, I promise. Do you have audio? Okay, so this is a challenge called Laser Defender, and the kids are really thinking through how they're going to solve the challenge, and they definitely push each other. They don't all agree, but there's a respect for each other, and they're willing to try different things in order to see what the outcome is. So it's a great example of how our kids are able to really, really hone in on those soft skills that we know are so important for the future. And again, a huge thank you. We're really excited that we're going to have 2 Fuse Labs in the district. And just last week, I learned that we need to order more supplies, which is a great problem to have because it means that we're actually using it. And the kids are really taking advantage of what's there. So thank you.
We're just coming up to get our garbage. Oh. We need the boxes for the awards. You know, so thank you so much for supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate the time and the presentation was really fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, and Stacy has some questions.
Oh, Stacy, okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. As always, the stuff you do is really great. A couple of questions. One is about the grant process. And
Okay.
so can you remind us how you determine who gets the grants? And I'm curious if we've seen grant proposals going up over the years as more and more people find out about it.
Yeah, so the great questions.
Yeah.
So the way grant proposals work is we do an open offer that on our website that if you're interested in a grant, there's a series of protocols that are all spelled out ahead of time. There are certain things we do not fund, so everything has to fit within the mission and curricular vision of the district. It has to be approved by the technology vision of the district. We really see this as an innovative pilot program within the district, so it's not meant to have anything that is separate and apart from where the district is going as a whole. So in the process, we do a lot of communicating with curricular, department chairs, principals, superintendents, technology for the district to make sure everything that we're considering funding meets within the vision and the long-term goals of the district. We then have a vetting process where we review each grant as submitted, and we can do one of many things. One is a full fund. Well, once we actually gave them more than they asked for, but that's very atypical. A partial fund, and we can also say this doesn't fit within the parameters of what we do. So we then have some, and I think anybody who's been at the meetings would say, incredibly robust conversations.
Yes. It's never one meeting. It's usually 2 3-hour meetings. At which everyone has a different view. But I have to say, the one thing that has never happened, I don't think, in the 4 years we've been co-presidents, is every grant that fits within our mission has been funded. Now, yeah, and so what that means is that doesn't mean that we haven't turned any down, but if it, for example, something would ordinarily fall within the district budget, that would not be appropriate for us to fund. It has to be something that's totally unique, that wouldn't ordinarily be funded, and that's innovative. And it may turn out that something that we fund is something that you ultimately fund the next year or the year after, or finds another funding source. For example, Robotics Club is one example of that.
And have you been getting more proposals?
It goes up and down, but I would say that this year we got more than any year in the past. And so we did have to do a couple more partials, I think, but we did in substance grants provide grants to everyone who requested. And the other piece of it too is last year and this year we found that we had some extra money in the budget, and we just decided it was the perfect timing for that Fuse grant. We don't anticipate, you saw that $41,000 number, right? We don't anticipate that happening every year, but it just so happened that we had money in the budget when these incredible Fuse proposals came up, and Deerfield wasn't quite ready to fund. Highland Park was, so we did them first, and then we did Deerfield. But I don't anticipate, that we would have that every year. It's a special signature.
Thank you guys again.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, did anyone have any questions? Okay, we're going to move on to our teacher representatives, Mr. Vogelstein.
Good evening. It's a pleasure once again to talk about the many things that are going on at Highland Park High School. Periodically, I give updates on our Learning Center and how many students they've been serving. And as of Friday, they had their 900th tutoring session of the 2017-18 school year. And if you want to learn more about the TLC, you can go to their website, which is www.hplearningcenter.weebly.com. And while you're there, you might want to check out the Tutor of the Month page, where you'll get a little description of the Tutors of the Month. Over the weekend of February 16th and 19th, 13 debaters represented Highland Park High School at the 2018 Harvard Speech and Debate Tournament. They did very well. They had Daphne Cass advance to the quarterfinals, and Haley Rubin and Jeremy Langsman advance to the semifinals. And then this past weekend, the team performed well at the ICDA state tournament. The team placed third at the invitational level, and at the championship level, Jacob Hirsch, Daphne Cass, and Haley Rubin were honored with an all-state award. Needless to say, their coaches were very proud of those individuals as well as the entire team for their performance. The DECA team was also in action over the weekend. They sent 48 students to the state tournament, and 24 of them qualified for the International DECA tournament in Atlanta this April. The team recorded numerous first and second place awards. If I read this correctly, Jacob Hirsch, who I referenced doing quite well at the debate tournament this weekend, also placed first at DECA. I'm not sure how that worked out, but it seemed to have happened. Also this weekend, the robotics team competed against 44 of the best teams in the state. Team Vertigo ended up the round robin portion of the tournament in second place and joined with two other teams to form a winning alliance. They won all but one match in the semifinals, advancing them to the finals where they captured the state championship. This will be HPHS's robotics team's sixth state win in the last 8 years. In addition, Brandon Shea, co-captain of Vertigo and lead programmer, also was awarded the prestigious Control Award. Senior Yalitza Lopez won the 2017 Joseph Adams Senior Scholarship from SHH. I'm not going to try to pronounce what that stands for, but I'll tell you that it's an honor society for high school students studying Spanish and Portuguese. And this national award is a prestigious honor for our high school as well as for Yalitza and her Spanish teachers, Debbie Lewicki and Neri Hagopian. She received a $1,000 scholarship. This was awarded to only 60 students, and there are over 2,400 schools that are a part of SHH across the United States. Students from all three junior high schools performed with our band and orchestra last week at the All-City Band and Orchestra Concerts on February 21st and 22nd. Prior to their performance, the junior high musicians came to the high school to rehearse with their counterparts. 275 and 150 musicians graced the stage for the band concert and the orchestra concerts, respectively. The orchestra concert featured a special performance by our superintendent. He had been working with the orchestra for, I understand, about a month or more, and they performed a number where he was playing electric guitar and doing a Santana song. We got to see it at our teacher in service the other day. It was a wonderful opportunity to see, for our students to see that administrators are artists as well, and to see that you can combine different instruments in different types of music. HP Dance auditioned dances choreographed by HPHS students to represent our high school at the 2018 Illinois High School Dance Festival's Student Choreography Showcase. You and Her by senior choreographers Genevieve Sanders and Alexis Zenov were selected to perform at the dance festival this May at Evanston Township High School. On Friday, February 16th, the Highland Park High School biology course team hosted Dr. Sam Ryan and the Genetic Update Conference. Over 200 students from HPHS and other area schools attended Dr. Ryan's presentation on genes, cancer, and CRISPR. CRISPR is a genetic engineering tool. Students from biology honors and AP classes attended this presentation on cutting-edge genetic research. Senior Zeev Tall scored his 1,000th point in the varsity basketball team's game against Lake Forest Academy on January 30th. This was a lot of fun to see. Zeev became only the 9th boys basketball player in the history of Highland Park High School to accomplish this feat. In addition, he, along with Noah Shutan and Daniel Michaelon, were all conference selections. They were part of a senior class that demonstrated grit and great sportsmanship and really provided a very entertaining season for those of us in the audience watching them play. The 24-hour run was a huge success. We're in the midst of charity drive right now. We're in our last week. And they had told us in an interview their goal was to raise $35,000. They're not revealing their total yet because they're still not sure what it is, but they have revealed that they ran 189 miles in support of Cal's Angels. The students that organized this did a wonderful job finding donations, bringing in food and entertainment that would keep the students entertained for the full 24 hours. And the event went off without a hitch. I got a kick out of them. They were very serious about this. We were interviewing them right before the start of the 24-hour run, and they began running before the interview was over because they were going to start at 9 o'clock sharp. It was fun because our reporter tried to run along with them. The Art Into the Night Charity Drive fundraiser had over 35 art students creating sponsored pieces from 4 p.m. until 12 a.m. on Friday night to benefit Cal's Angels. The event was a success, raising over $3,000. This is the first time that we've done this event. under the direction of Scott Schallenbarger, Playback Theater raised over $1,200 with their sold-out performance on Friday evening as well. So our fine and applied arts students raised $4,200 in one night. Not related to Charity Drive, but related to our spirit of giving at Highland Park High School, HPHS Rotary Interact took 70 students to the Fox Lake Polar Plunge on Sunday. Now, these 70 students were not bystanders, they were plungers, and their dip into the icy waters raised almost $13,000 for Special Olympics. HPHS Rotary Interact is one of the top-raising school teams in the state. Debbie Finn is here, and she had helped coordinate a letter writing campaign to let students share their thoughts and wishes with the students at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And Debbie reported that she's got hundreds of letters that students have written, and then earlier today they created a banner, signed a banner? Tomorrow, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. This is a really remarkable thing, and I'm going to conclude today by reading one of the letters that one of our students wrote. I read this, and I think this was probably therapeutic for our kids as well as for the students that would eventually be reading these, and certainly it was therapeutic for me after watching a lot of news programs over the weekend and seeing the vitriol that's spread by certain special interest groups. So here's the student's letter. Over the past week, we have discussed the shootings. The one message that comes up over and over is your ability as students and survivors to take a stand and truly make a difference. Speaking up about a topic as divisive as gun control is incredibly important and not something many adults want to talk about. Your courage and unwillingness to be swept aside as a statistic is incredibly noble. I truly believe this will be the turning point in our nation's history, and the fact that the people rewriting history are my age makes me unbelievably proud. There's an elegance in this letter that I find profound, and again, I found it therapeutic for me. Yeah. So that's my report from Highland Park High School.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Mr. Vora?
Hi, all. I'm Jig Vora. I'm the DHS board rep, and let me share with you some of the notes from Deerfield. Mark Pector wanted to share that Kenny Kirstein, who qualified for state 4 years in a row, finished 5th in wrestling at the state tournament, and Cody Goodman took top 8. Mrs. Campbell, Sarah Campbell, wanted to talk about, and this ties in with the District 113 grant, that she received a grant from the District 113 Foundation, and she brought in Itty Sis, a teacher, musician, performer with the Muntu Dance Company in Chicago. He is teaching dance classes with live accompaniment, and it was very fun. They had an aerobic style of dance, and the students loved it. Donnie Escalante wanted to share that Yafa Berman and her outstanding Israeli club held Israeli Culture Day at DHS on January 23rd, 2018 during the lunch periods. Students who participated got to drink mint tea, sample homemade hummus, delicious pita bread. They got henna tattoos. They made beautiful Hebrew name stickers and jewelry. And kudos to Gavrit Berman and the students of the Israeli club. The event was definitely appreciated by students who were passing by and decided to stop by and have some fun as well. The Spanish 4 team at DHS, Miss Escalante, Miss Ham, Miss Schroeder had students create public service announcements as final exam projects. All PSAs had to do with teen health issues such as texting and driving, eating disorders, the use of controlled substances. The PSAs were incredibly interesting and compelling, and we had to hope that our students not only learn Spanish, but gain some valuable info on ways to stay safe and seek out help when they're needed. Mark Pector also shared that the wrestling team, after they got back from state, did some community service after coming back and winning the tournament. The wrestlers set up and served lunch and broke down the Special Olympics that were held at the high school as well. Lisa Backus shared that she was a guest panelist at Northwestern for their Broader Impact Forum on February 5th of this month, and she spoke on her 7 summer research experiences at Northwestern. AP Art teacher Chris Sikora spoke about some of his students that were represented at the Illinois High School Art Exhibition. Students included Annika Sorensen in drawing, Emily Zinbarg in mixed media, Grace Lehman in painting, Ryan Wild in design, Sophia Centazzo in photography, and Michael Norwish in time arts. And senior scholarship winners were Julia Karcheva in drawing, Isabella Parisi in photography, Haley Epstein in design, Ariella Karash in painting, Ryan Wild in design, and Kira Aurora in drawing as well. Neil Rigler and Ken Kramer shared that they were hosts and organizers of this year's CASE conference. CASE is the Council for American Studies Education. The conference was held at the Art Institute with over 100 teachers from suburban and city schools in attendance, and it went very, very well. Julie Blanche shared that Chase the therapy dog visited before school on the last 2 Fridays and brought stress relief and smiles to DHS students and staff. Brett Schwartz shared that he's very happy to report a film by Julian Niesenbaum. Julian's short documentary, The Choice, was screened at the DHS TV. It won first place in the student filmmaker competition at the 2018 JCC Chicago Jewish Film Festival. Julian will receive various prizes for the award, and his film will be shown on the big screen at this year's festival, which runs from March 1st through March 18th, and at a number of local movie theaters. The Choice screens at Evanston Cinemark Theater on Sunday, March 11th at 2 p.m. And last but not least, Hillary Quagliana shared that the AP government classes at Deerfield just completed their Model Congress. Students acted as representatives or senators from specific assigned ideologies, parties, and states, and they each wrote a bill. They engaged in a party caucus, committee meetings, floor actions, optional conference committees. Before one last vote, they passed 2 out of 42 bills. HB 1, Rothenberg-Edelson Border Compromise Act, and HB 3, Aid for Protectors Act. Kudos to all students who participated, and especially Zach Rothenberg, Ryan Edelson, and Freddie Gold, the original sponsors of the 2 bills that ultimately became laws. The AP government teacher is Hillary Quagliana. That's all we got from DHS. Thank you.
Hey, Miss Anderson.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank District 113 Foundation for their generous donations. We're very excited for the Fuse Lab. We've been eyeing the Highland Park one, so it's exciting that we'll have it at Deerfield as well. So thank you so much for doing that, in addition to all the other teacher awards. It'll be great too. It's obviously great for our teachers, but even better for our students who will be engaging with all the wonderful things that you brought to them. In addition to all the great things that Jig shared, I do have a few more items to share. Just wanted to thank all of our visual art teachers as well as all of our students who participated in the District 113 student art exhibit. What's phenomenal about this is that not only are students and teachers engaged in this exhibit, but they turn around just a week later, basically, and they are participating in the Illinois High School art exhibit. So they have a lot of exhibits going on at once, and it's a lot for both our teachers and our students to put together. So thank you so much to all of them for all of their hard work. I'm going back a little bit, but it's been a while since I spoke here. So at the beginning of the month, DHS's WYSE, Worldwide Youth in Science and Engineering, won their regional tournament. Thank you to our sponsor, Marty Eskar. The Student Congress team, they competed as was discussed before for Highland Park in the state debate tournament at Harper College. And Shelby Miller was one of 10 debaters in the league to qualify for the all-state team. And thank you to our sponsors, Mary Booty, Kelly Walanga, and Lisa Allen for all they do for the students. 2 of our junior students, Lexi Kotis or Chotis, sorry about that, and Haley Rosenberg, compete on the Starlights, which is a synchronized ice skating team, and they just placed 3rd at national championship, so they will be alternates for the international United States team that's coming up. And we also had 35 students competing at the DECA championship this past weekend. They also had a great showing with sponsors Brian Lukens and Joe Navickas. I have just a little bit more. In addition to Kenny Kirstein and Cody Goodman, who competed for wrestling, we also had 2 competitors for swimming and diving as well. And Zane Danielwitz, who's a freshman, had a 6th place showing for state in diving. So we look forward to his continued success over the next 3 years. And then just a little bit from the staff side, over the past 2 weeks, we have had staff Olympics. So we've tried to bring a little bit of fun to our departments, and departments have different events that they can compete in and just have fun with one another. And the math department, they ended up as the gold trophy winners, and counseling won the Spirit Award for showing such great spirit throughout the entire thing. On a more of a somber note, we have been discussing a lot within the school, students, parents, staff members in regards to safety and security. As the Parkland incident that occurred, it is fresh on our minds. Of course, there's a lot of fear and anxiety and what ifs. And so we've been having lots of conversations to open up the opportunity for individuals to speak. So just today spoke with students in regards to their intentions for a walkout. And similar to your, Tom, your sentiment from your students, something that struck me was they said we want to celebrate students' voice and shed light on the issue. And that is truly what we're seeing right now, is students that are standing up who just want to have their voices heard. And sometimes we don't give our students enough credit, but then I just listed like a ton of amazing things that they're doing, and we know how amazing they are. So I commend our students for wanting to ensure that their voices are heard in this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Okay, board reports. Does anyone have Gail?
So I attended the lunch with the DHS principal, which occurred 2 days after the Parkland shooting. And it got a much bigger than normal turnout from parents. And I think most people were there for one reason, to hear about the school safety and security and express their concerns. And I really want to say that Ms. Anderson did an amazing job giving an overview of what goes on from the school perspective in general, looking at security, as well as what had been going on in the previous 2 days since that shooting happened. So I just kind of want to acknowledge that. She also took questions and suggestions from parents, and I know that she shared that she even made a change that day as a result of a parent suggestion. Tiffany Chavez was also there and talked about the resiliency committee and what's been going on at Highland Park High School with it, and wanting to bring it to DHS as well. So it was good to hear about that. And that's it.
Okay. Do you have anything?
I was not able to attend the DHS, the Booster Club meeting, but I was provided with the minutes and just said that I would, and reviewed the minutes, and just they're in great shape and financially and otherwise, and just to sort of express that they're everything is copacetic there. No specific grants were given out this particular meeting, but they've done a lot for the athletic department this year, and will continue to do so.
Thanks.
I did attend the Giants Club meeting, and actually the Giants are going to try to market themselves as the Giants Booster Club because they're not sure that everybody is aware that that is actually what they do, is to raise funds for the school, right, in terms of the athletics. So they are starting marketing materials and that sort of stuff. The other two things that were interesting were, I didn't realize that the conference kind of determines who participates in the conference every few years, and so there's the potential that sometime over the next couple of years we may be kind of changing who we compete against. Nothing decided yet, but it was just brought up as something that they're thinking about. And then finally, discussion about upgrading the scoreboard on Walters Field, and so talking about what kind of fundraising they might do to help support that.
Okay, thank you. I have, since Elena Laube isn't here tonight, she gave me a little report to read. She attended the HPHS PTO meeting on February 13th. The student chairs of Charity Drive gave an update on past and future events and showed parents how to register for the online auction. Dr. Robertson summarized the discussion from the February 15th Resiliency Committee parent meeting. Topics included an assessment audit by department, a later start for the school day, and consideration of a homeroom concept. Parent feedback regarding the Mosaic program was that the classroom discussions the day after the program were very beneficial. Resources will be shared with parents so that the discussion can continue at home. Parents commented on the increase in requests for financial assistance for students who cannot afford the price of AP exams, currently $90 each. Andy Butler presented the Screens for Teens program and requested 70 volunteers. The program does EKG screening for $15 per student and at no cost to students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. She also attended the DHS lunch with the principal on February 16th. Discussion focused on building security measures, including metal detectors, service dogs, security issues at the west entrance, keeping track of at-risk students, providing PA systems to all instructional spaces, and providing timely alerts to all staff. And parents asked for clarification regarding standards-based grading, PE waivers, and online absence reporting systems. And then she attended the HPHS coffee with the principal on February 24th. Dr. Robertson gave an update on plans for the March 14th walkout, emphasizing student safety during the 17-minute demonstration. Discussion focused on building security measures, including rooms without a PA system, students feeling unsafe and vulnerable, and the lack of security personnel at the desk by the pool entrance. Several parents contributed procedures in place at other schools and requested a letter be sent home with specific advice, speaking points, relevant websites, and plan improvements to building security that will reassure their children. So that was from Elena. And then I just wanted to report real quick on CTAD, Community the Anti-Drug. For anyone who's not aware of CTAD, it's an organization that covers our District 113 community, and our focus is to reduce the use and abuse of alcohol and drugs amongst our teens. So in the beginning 2 weeks or so of March, both high schools will be distributing IYS, which is an Illinois youth survey, to survey our students regarding perception of harm when it comes to alcohol and drugs, drug usage, alcohol usage. And this survey is administered every 2 years, so CTAD uses the results of those surveys pretty much to plan whatever programs or whatever materials we need to help with this issue in our district, or well, our community, I should say. And there's also a parent survey, so when a note was sent out to all the parents that this will be issued in the beginning of March, there's also a parent component, which would be really great if we could get as many parents to fill out the survey. It's only 5 to 10 minutes, but again, it's helpful to know what the parent perception is of use and abuse in our community, and then how we can gear our programming to kind of best serve our community. So, and then also on behalf of CTAD, I just wanted to thank District 113. We have several staff members, Dr. Dignam, Christine Gonzalez, Dr. Tucker, Dr. Brandt, Brian Rome, Claudia Lopez. There's probably more staff members that I'm forgetting, so I apologize, but they serve on the board for CTAD. The district allows us to have our meetings here. They also provide office space for the director and the assistant director for CTAD, so CTAD just really appreciates all the support from District 113. So that's it. Okay, superintendent report.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of updates regarding some FOIAs and some other information regarding our district. In terms of FOIA activity, on February 13th, 2018, we received a request from Stephen Ticelli of Smart Procure regarding purchasing records. We responded in a timely manner on February 22nd, 2018. On February 21st, 2018, we received a request from Kaylin Rhodes of 3 Point Consulting regarding teacher salary schedules. We responded in a timely manner on February 22nd, 2018. With regards to some information updates I would like to provide, I'm going to try and summarize all of this. It's really interrelated regarding some of our security measures that we have taken in our district, obviously starting with the most recent shooting that occurred. This district and everyone nationwide is devastated with the news of another school shooting. This time occurred at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School that did result in a loss of 17 innocent lives. We do not know how students and staff felt at Douglas High School on that particular day, and given all the decisions that students and staff had to make in a timely manner. But we do want to share that we are committed to providing as safe of a learning environment and campus that we possibly can each and every day for all of our students. At both the district and school levels, we regularly review our school safety procedures and will continue to do so. We also conduct drills throughout the year. These are active threat drills with varying scenarios to train and prepare our staff for any incident that may arise. We maintain regular contact with our neighboring high school districts and our sending districts. We also work very closely with city officials and the police departments, fire departments to discuss protocol and best practices. For security purposes, we cannot share specific information regarding crisis response protocols, but please know that they are always under continual review, and with each drill and with the highlights that we take away from each one of those drills, we reflect on those experiences and improve upon our practice. In terms of other initiatives this Board of Education and the district has taken over the past year and a half, in terms of on the ground new types of policy that we had in place last year, the Board of Education approved a canine safety initiative. Since then, the district has explored different partners and is in the process of implementing canine walks to best support our current safety and security practices. The canines are trained to detect contraband, but they're also trained to detect weapons. So they can actually detect if there's ammunition that has been in the building, or if a weapon has been hidden in the building or brought into the building that has been recently used. Over the next few weeks, our Director of Facilities, Mr. John Fuhr, will be working directly with a third-party vendor that we have selected for 2 schools to begin implementing canine walks for each of our buildings and campuses to meet the needs of all students. In terms of the PA sound systems, our board president mentions a couple of thoughts that Elena Lave had regarding some of the PA system usage across the district. Upon immediately joining the district in August, Mr. Fuhr did a full assessment of our facilities in order to prioritize improvement projects. Our PA system was immediately identified as a need and was moved to our current fiscal year calendar for planning for improvements. This has been ongoing this school year. Improving our intercom system required an assessment of work, and because of the scope of the project, it required a public bid. It really requires construction to either put in place PA system abilities where they may not have been clearly in place before, or to repair those that may not be working at a full capability that is acceptable for our usage. Improving the intercom system requires an assessment of work, and that is something that Mr. Fuhr has performed, and that bid was published. We are currently awaiting responses. The goal is to immediately begin work once the bid has been awarded and complete that work as soon as possible. A large component of our crisis response protocol is our communication. The PA system is just one method in which we communicate within the building. Over the past year or two, we have initiated a few different systems that we can utilize for better communicating, whether those are lockdown drills or if an event ever actually occurs. We practice sending text messages and other email alerts to staff. We began collecting students' cell phone information at the beginning of this school year, and we will make another push to obtain that information so that we can send messages directly to students as part of our crisis response protocol. That is new for our district this year and something that is very, very helpful. And if you're a parent that has signed up for that, or a staff member or a student, I would really commend you for doing so, but everyone who has not, we really want everyone to be on this list. We will share the process for updating student cell phone numbers later this week. And this is going to be led by Ms. Gonzalez, our communications director. In terms of the incident that occurred, the massacre that occurred in Florida is what it is. That sparked a mix of emotions in students and throughout our community nationwide. And many of our students want to do something. I was at a meeting this morning at Deerfield High School, Principal Anderson, and we have another meeting set up for Highland Park this coming Wednesday with Dr. Robertson and other officials from across the community in Highland Park. Many of our students have rallied behind the National School Walkout Day on March 14th. As a district, we are supporting our students who choose to exercise their right to do so in a student-led event. We are in full support of student voice and civic engagement. Regardless of whether or not a student chooses to participate in the National School Walkout, the cause presents a learning experience for our students that I believe is extremely important and that can further engage our students and bring awareness to current issues and events. We have been in communication with students, parents, and community members regarding this event. Additionally, both Dr. Robertson and Ms. Anderson have met with our students so we can support their efforts and ensure safety while this event takes place. We've been asked for some details regarding the event for that day, and I just want to be on record with this. We are going to share as much as we possibly can, but as discussed with our parents, with our students this morning, while this event takes place, we want to ensure safety, so we may not publish every detail of the way that this event is going to take place because it is student-led and it may look a little different at Deerfield than it does at Highland Park High School. So we have been scheduling meetings with village and city officials, our local law enforcement, as well to develop security plans for students who choose to participate in the walkout. As those details become appropriate, we will share those. Other details we will be sharing with the police department and our village and city officials to ensure the safety for students that day. Thank you.
I think a few of you may have had, go ahead, Stacey.
A couple questions, sorry.
Yes.
It's my question day. Sorry, this one was not in advance. But since I've been on the board, the district has done a number of things to enhance the security measures, from the doors, security, that source, and again, some things that maybe not everybody's aware of. But based on what Mr. Meister said and then what you said, I think in terms of what you read from Alina's report about the security at the pool or the new gyms at both high schools, I don't know. I'm not asking for an answer now, but I don't know if there's been discussion or if you're planning to have discussion and that sort of stuff, because that is a new entryways that we didn't have a year ago.
Yes.
So just your thoughts on how we're looking at that.
Sure, I can share what we've been doing in place of those new additions, and also Mr. Fuhrer is here tonight to speak to any of these points as well. So I can start and say that, as was mentioned this evening, it was brought to our attention that there were some concerns at one of the entrances, and I immediately contacted Dr. Steve Tucker, who's here this evening, and said, we need to look at this, and I had the time frame from which this may have occurred. So Dr. Tucker and I are scheduled to actually touch base with Dr. Robertson tomorrow about this, so that I can learn firsthand what is it they learned from that footage. But that is an area that we're looking at in terms of how people come in and out of the school, because you are really granted access into the building right away, and we want to make sure that we have a lot of events on the weekends. We have events after school. The high schools have a different dilemma than the elementary schools because of the extracurriculars, the amount of usage that we get, people that come and go. And it's impossible to check every single person that comes in as thoroughly as we want to say that this person does not have something on them that we would not want in our buildings. I think it's impossible to do that almost anywhere. But it is something that we're looking at for those entrances to improve the security as people enter. And I don't know, John, if there's anything I missed about those entrances, or Dr. Tucker.
No, the only thing I'll add to that is we've seen, as the schools have opened these past 2 years with the new pools and new gyms, that our usage has gone up considerably at the schools. So one of the things we've been working with the security managers and the building administrators is trying to understand how do we handle that adjustment? How do we handle that load that we've seen in the schools, especially this past year? So we are getting great use out of the buildings, which is great for the community, but this is a side issue. We got to find a way to better deal with it. So we're trying to find a way to staff it differently. Like I said, we're working with manpower and how do we adjust all that and work within the budget, which we're going through that process right now. So that's what's happening in the background.
Okay. Did you have something?
Steve, do you have anything you'd like to say, or anyone else?
No, just to reiterate the comments that were made from a personnel standpoint. We try to do everything within our power to make sure every single area, entry, and exit is secure as much as possible. To that end, there are always areas that we can look to improving, especially during situations where personnel would call in sick or have medical reasons as to not showing up for a particular employment day. But definitely we are aware, we're taking the appropriate steps to make sure that all the areas are secure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question that's unrelated. Sorry, that Dr. Dignam does know about, but I don't know where to put it, about the windows.
Oh, right.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
named from your superintendent report. I don't know where it exactly fits, but since it was in your superintendent letter, I thought here.
Yes, and so John, Mr. Fuhrer is here as well. And so with some background with this,
Thank you.
when we had the construction that occurred with the referendum, not every window in the district could be replaced. This building, the schools, there's some areas where they are old windows. Some of them could be from the 1950s. Some of them could be a little more recent with the double pane windows that maybe the gas that was in there at one time is not in there anymore to address some of the heat and cooling that occurs in the spaces. So what the district did about a year ago was take some of the windows that were in good shape that came out that were replaced with new windows and then put them in areas where maybe some of those windows needed a more secure and airtight space. So I know that occurred with the areas that were brought up in terms of the DHS windows. That's what occurred at DHS. There were some windows, primarily in the English department, that staff were saying were problematic because of insects coming in and drafts and things. And so we sort of recycled some windows that were in really good shape and put them in that space. We then had a facilities assessment done with a facilities plan that looked at every space in the district, every field, every area of the district, and prioritized according to maybe heating issues or space issues or windows. And so what occurred with this now is that we prioritize some of the windows, and what we want to do is address those windows that are definitely in teaching and learning spaces first, and then work with the worst performing windows to those that are a little bit newer. So, John, Mr. Fuhrer, if you want to speak to the windows and where we're at with them.
Well, all that's is good to the backstory. The specific issues of this summer that we were going out for bid, we did have a set of windows going for in the bid package, but through dealing with our contractors, our GCs and architects, we're finding the good economy is good for the economy, but we are about 2 months late to the dance of getting bids out. So the market's already flooded. So we had pre-bid meetings where contractors will come to have to be at those meetings to get a scope review, and we had one window vendor for this particular set of windows. And being that it's a little over $1 million project, one bid is usually not a good practice to take a single bid. We've not received the bids yet, but given what we're seeing in the industry, and I even confirmed this afternoon with another general contractor, they're having the same problem with this particular trade. The windows are just they're consumed up for the summer already. So this bid will go out. Make lemons out of lemonade. The bid will go back out in April to May, but we're going to try to group the HPS cafeteria windows that would be part of this, or could be bundled with it now since we have this condition. So hopefully we can leverage both schools' window work together this summer, and we'll be out early enough this year that we won't have the late condition that we've had this year.
So I just want to be clear, though, that we're saying, because a few meetings ago, we said that the Deerfield windows, the English, whatever, some of those windows would be done this summer, but now you're
Correct.
thinking a year from this summer.
They'll be done in 2019 as of now, just because we weren't getting any contractors to bid on it.
Right. Well, I had expressed some concerns and questions about the walkout earlier, and I felt that they were all addressed in the letter that went out and in your report. But I just, in addition to that, I do think it's very important that it be student-led and all about the student voice. I know there are a lot of parents asking, can they attend? How can they support the students? And I don't know if that's been discussed, parents and community members who just want to show their support, if that's been part of the discussions with the students or not, or if there's some way, even if we don't open the campus, is there some other way that perhaps the community can show their support for the students?
Yeah, so I can address some of that, and Dr. Robertson and Ms. Anderson, if there's something I missed, please jump in, feel free to jump in. With this walkout, one concern is open campus compared to closed campus, saying where we're going to have this event and what time, because I need to be honest, I receive sometimes correspondence that is maybe not in support of some of the decisions we make as a district, and we've been very clear that we're not taking a political stance and we're not politicizing our kids, but we want, this is a student-led walkout. And so that's why it may look different at Highland Park compared to Deerfield. So, and so like the discussion that was at Deerfield and the one that's upcoming at Highland Park, that's been a topic, like what could the role of parents or community be? We've been contacted by our middle school saying our students have been told that they could have an excused absence for a day, could they come over? And our concern is like when we start opening that up, we start opening up the possibility that if something occurs, how are we responsible and for whom are we responsible and what does that look like? So right now it's still very fluid. The students are going to be going back to Ms. Anderson in the next couple of days and then they'll be working with Dr. Robertson. We're staggering these so we can all be as present as possible. So one thing that came up today was that there might be a possibility for something after school or in the evening or at a different time outside like City Hall or one of the parks in the areas, whether those are Highland Park or Deerfield. And I know there's some discussions about those things. And what we let our students know is that whatever they do, we will still try and be as involved as we can and make sure we involve law enforcement and other city officials so that they know about permits and other things that are going to take place and that we want to work with them as much as we possibly can. So I think some of those opportunities for community and parents may come after the school day.
Okay.
No, thank you. I had a bunch of questions and concerns, but they've all been addressed and answered here as much as possible. So thank you for being so supportive of the students and helping them to organize this in the best way. I think everybody really appreciates it.
Thank you. We said this morning, I am not for censorship. I want our students to have a experience in how do you challenge authority in a democratic society. I don't think everything we do is just in the classroom. I probably thought that when I was a brand new teacher, my first year teaching, and I realized there's more than just the cognitive abilities that we're trying to get out of our kids. There's so much more social, emotionally, and civically. So we're very happy to support the students in this, and we're going to work with them. So as this sort of evolves, we'll definitely keep the Board of Education apprised of where we are, and we'll be working with our principals, and so that work has already started. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go on to the. Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll go on to approval of minutes. It's recommended that the minutes be approved as listed. Finance Committee meeting February 12th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you again to Ali and John.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. And then it is recommended that the minutes be approved as listed. Regular meeting February 12th, 2018. Closed session February 12th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to discussion items. Determination of date and time of Board of Education meetings, June 2018 through June 2019. Is there any questions, discussion?
The only question I had was, this says that they're all going to take place here, and this year we did a couple at Deerfield High School and a couple at Highland Park High School, and are we considering that again for next year?
So I'll answer first, and I'm not going to steal all of our president's thunder here. So.
Oh.
Well, let me think what I'm going to say.
So I just.
Just kidding.
No, but I think we probably should chat as to what that looked like and how valuable it was in the input-output, because we want to be present at the schools, but we also look at, I know firsthand, but our Ramina Isaac and Christine Gonzalez know authentically what occurs to get that set up at our schools and make sure that it's running well. And so I think we need to look at, what do those look like, and if we want to next year, maybe do more, but maybe, I don't know how many there would be. I think we need to talk about it.
Because we did, 2 at each school this year, and while I think it's great to be in the school and kind of have a different change of scene here, but it didn't seem to increase attendance. I think the hope was if we were on site at one or, each high school, that more community members would feel comfortable coming, and I don't know that that really happened. So if there is a lot of, you know, more work that has to go into setting up, getting our screens up, getting our microphones, everything, you know, we do kind of have to look at that. So I think for this time we'll keep it as is, and then, you know, if we feel like it's necessary to do one or so, and it's not that we don't want to, it's just, I don't know that the intention was to have accessibility to more community members, and that didn't really happen, so. But not a reason to not still offer it, because who knows, next year might be different, so I think at this time we can discuss it again in 2 weeks, and perhaps our board members that aren't here have some insight on that as well.
On a different topic related, though, to this, and I pointed this out to Christine already, and I'm sure she's probably already fixed it, but I think that there's some sort of a glitch with the website that, like, for example, tonight's meeting appeared on, I think, the district's website, or maybe it was Deerfield's website, that it started at 7:30 instead of 7. And because we had switched policy committee meeting to tonight, that actually made sense to me, so I didn't really question it, but just something to keep in mind, that making sure that all the ways that the times of the board meetings are, I'm sure it was, again, some glitch. Christine's probably already fixed it, but just wanted to point that out to anyone else who may have been confused.
It's a big glitch if you show up a half hour late.
Yeah. What?
It's a big glitch if someone shows up a half hour late.
Well, I happen to already be at policy committee, but that could have been me.
Okay, any other discussion on that one? Okay, so we'll go on to the 2019-2020 school calendar. Any discussion on that?
Yes.
J.C.
So the quarters here are more significantly imbalanced. Is that the right word? Unbalanced, than this year or the prior year. And I know we're obviously making the change because of the doing finals before the exams. But my question was third quarter specifically, which has more than 50 days, I think. It looks like what you were trying to do was to have the semester end right before break, which makes intuitive sense to me. But so my question was, are we aligning breaks with the sender districts? Is that part of what's driving this calendar?
No, I can explain that. So the way the breaks work, let's say, for example, this is our calendar and we set it. Our sending districts, 112, 106, 109, will look at what we've set for our calendar, and then they will work on their breaks to align with us. And so, like even today, Ramina double-checked with that. Dr. Aragine worked in 112, and I asked her about that. I said, this is what we did last year, and it's still the same. So with that being said, they will set their breaks with our breaks. In terms of the unbalanced or the larger number of days, third quarter compared to fourth quarter, you know, as a classroom teacher, teaching a semester course or a year-long course, that second semester, the third quarter when it ends it's an interim grade. So it's not going to be a final reported grade anyway, so it really does not, I don't believe makes a significant difference, other than it looks very different because of the number of days there. And I double-checked that with Dr. Aragine as well in terms of what her thoughts were, and we had the same conclusion with that. We'd love to get these as balanced as possible, but that should not make a big difference for the semester grade, which is going to be a cumulative grade anyway. And what we've done is we've been looking at our cumulative grading practices and our progress report that we generate, and you know, next year with that calendar, that should not have any impact on that at all, because everyone's going to be doing cumulative grading for the year. Very few teachers, it was in the dozens out of a few hundred at each school that were actually doing quarter grading, and it was all cumulative for everyone else.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Vast majority is cumulative.
Right. So I would just ask that if I know that you're having, or the principals are having discussions on resilience committees, whatever, I don't know if there are any of those between now and the next meeting. But just to double check that the department chairs or people maybe a little further down agree with your teaching assessment that it doesn't matter. Because again, as a community member, it just seemed weird, or I'm actually thinking more about a kid stress feeling like it seems really long, and even though the quarter grade doesn't really matter, the perception of it kind of might feel differently. So just to make sure that if you do, if this is the calendar we end up with, also to make sure we communicate kind of what you did so people understand that it.
I think it's a
isn't
very
that
valid
meaningful.
point, and what we could probably do, and Ms. Chavez can work with our principals on this as well for communicating that with our students, because the district next year, everyone is going to be doing cumulative grading because it was just such a disproportionate number. You look at a couple dozen teachers in each of our schools in hundreds and hundreds doing cumulative grading. That's not going to make a difference anymore. So that will not have a big impact. Psychologically, when you see it, yes, that could have been an impact. And so maybe in BAM and AC, that could be a topic of discussion and something that's noted last year.
So when you say we're doing cumulative grading, does that mean there aren't going to be quarter grades reported?
No, we'll still have a quarter grade reported, but the way that the teachers are computing the grades instead
For the semester, right.
Here's your hard grade at third quarter. Here's the hard grade at fourth. And here's what
An
your final
average,
grade
right?
is.
Okay.
Almost everyone in the district is doing cumulative, which is what our students are going to experience in college.
Thank you. I actually just noticed something inconsistency from this, from the 1920 calendar and next year's calendar, the 18-19 calendar. So I noticed that it says like on April 10th, not in attendance, Good Friday, April 13th, not in attendance, Easter Monday. That delineation is not provided in the calendar for the year prior that's already been approved. So I'm just sort of curious.
Yes, okay, so I can address that. This came up last year when we moved to having finals before winter break, and we looked at one difference is going to be, and I want to clarify this, one difference for our grading practices is going to be that our first semester is going to be a little shorter than the second semester, and that's because we have finals before winter break. And with that, we have to have 176 days of attendance minimally for students in the district to have that count without adding days. We have 177 days built in. Because we have days where maybe Veterans Day does not fall on a weekday or other day, every year we're going to have a holiday that may look a little different. So one year may have an extra holiday second semester, and the next year it could be an extra holiday in the first semester. And so what we do is we work with DAC, which is our district council that I work with, is representative staff teachers from across the district, and we actually do this calendar together, and it gets published, and staff are informed of what our calendar is based off the work of DAC. And so we may note that those holidays differ based on where they land each year. And so we may have an extra day that we need to place for a holiday because we have 177 attendance days. We have 178 on this calendar.
Right, but is it always, I mean, there was a specific, it was called Easter Monday for next year, but on this, it was not called Easter Monday. And now for this year, it is called Easter Monday. So I guess my question is more, is that a holiday that, like some sort of a floating holiday that you're referring to, or was it just accidentally left off that they're getting the day off because it's Easter Monday? I just, when a parent, or somebody's reading this calendar and making plans or arrangements or whatever, is this something that they, are going to learn, going to sort of come to expect then to always have that Monday off?
No, they shouldn't.
I know that just because that looked different to me. It's called Easter Monday, so then might maybe say, oh, it's Easter Monday, so we're going to get Easter Monday off. But then the already approved calendar for next year does not say Easter Monday, and I get and understand the sort of filling in the different holidays, but I just wonder if it's going to cause confusion to call it Easter Monday when it wasn't called that before.
Confusion, but like this year we had a day off after like that Monday after the winter break when there was
Yeah.
New Year's, that fell oddly. So I guess if we had called it another like New Year holiday, that could have been like, New Year's Monday or something. So I can see where that might cause confusion. Wow, we're always going to have this off, but maybe we can be a little more thoughtful than that.
That's all I had.
Okay. And then we'll go on to Board of Education Policy 5-90, Abused and Neglected Child Reporting. Who has the info on that one? Oh.
I got you. Okay. So, abused and neglected child reporting. So, this particular policy came up for review there were some changes in the law, and so it includes a better partnership between DCFS and the school districts. That's the premise of this policy changes. So what we have recommended are that specific language where DCFS can now come in and provide us information about child abuse hotlines, provide some documentation. The reporting stays the same. I don't think anything changes there. There is some more specific language regarding hazing that, and particularly hazing that results in death, that was not in our previous policy. So that's a part of this as well. Again, as part of some new additions to the law and some recommendations from press. So I am and have been on this particular policy recommending the press recommendations.
Okay, any questions or discussion? No. Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Okay, so we'll move on to action items. Board of Education Policies. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt policies 2-260, 4-145, 6-150, 7-180 as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just wanted to let everyone know that the policies are all as were presented at the last board meeting, with the exception of 7-180, which Board Member Small specifically had a couple of questions that we looked at, and so we made some additional changes from when we did last time. So, for example, wanted it to be really clear that this was a policy about students only, and so the title of the policy was changed to be added by students. And then another big thing that was discussed was it said that there would be an evaluation process and that it would be available, and had a discussion. And so what will come up is annually, as part of the district reporting that they're going to do on a regular basis, this will be part of that reporting. So those are the two changes that we made.
Of what? Of the policy?
Yeah, reporting regarding bullying things.
Okay.
Now, as part of the state law, you're supposed to be tracking and that sort of stuff. So whatever is decided that needs to be measured will be part of what the district report card will have it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Next is the annual renewal of the agreements regarding the receipt of developer subdivision contributions and indemnification. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agreements regarding receipt of developer subdivision contributions and indemnification as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. Okay, seeing there's no further discussion, a roll call, please.
Ms. Pick?
Aye.
Ms. Garlowski?
Aye.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Colbert?
Aye. Motion passes. It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to prepare a tentative budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 and ending June 30th, 2019, in accordance with the intent to prepare budget resolution as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
That's what I was going to say.
Got anything for us, Ali?
If I can add, a couple of things that by law for fiscal year 19, which is the 2018-19 school year, the Board of Education is required by the school code is required to adopt the budget by September 30th of 2018. In this resolution, the board will be adopting the budget on August 13th, 2018, so we'll be in compliance. It's just a resolution.
Okay. Seeing there's no further discussion, a roll call, please.
Ms. Garlowski?
Aye.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pick?
Aye.
Ms. Colbert?
Aye. Motion passes. It is recommended that the consent agenda be approved as listed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lizzie will provide a report on the bills.
Thank you. I did have a chance to go over some of the bills with Ali, and all the information that I requested was provided and organized, and all the payments did seem to be in order and matched all the entries from the financial report. So
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing there's no further discussion, a roll call, please.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Fick? Aye. Ms. Garlovsky?
Aye.
Ms. Culver?
Aye. Motion passes. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments? Yep.
Hi.
Jerry Lavin, Deerfield High School. Just a quick comment. This is really directed to the board. Sorry, it's about Windows. Yeah, I know. This predates the current administration. Just a reminder, the board has known since the end of Mr. Fornero's tenure about the condition of the Windows specifically in the English department. This is not at all with regard to Dr. Dignam or Mr. Fiore, and I can't speak to what Mr. Fiore was saying about the timing of what's happening in the market necessarily, but the board has been aware for more than 3 years about the condition of these windows, and specifically in the English department. And it's not just the passage of air, it's also the formation of mold, and it's insects coming through as well. So it may in fact be that the market is such that it's very difficult to get this done until the summer of 2019. But this board has had the information for several years now. And I think the real question is not so much on the administration necessarily. I take Mr. Fiore and Dr. Dignam at their word about what the facts are in the market, but why the board hasn't acted far sooner than now. And now someone's got to break it to the English department that this is going to continue until, I guess, sometime in 2019. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Okay, it's recommended the board move into closed session.
I simply have a question, and I'm sorry if I'm ignorant, but are the windows bulletproof windows from the outside? The outside windows?
Any other questions? No. It's recommended the board move into closed session to consider information regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Garlovsky?
Aye.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Fick?
Aye.
Ms. Culver?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
We take 2-minute break.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom.